Alrighty, after a big week. Last week was a very big week for a lot of us, me included. But also, some people just dropped some absolute monster scores. And it seemed like everyone that had a good team this week, the one just gone, did really well. And good for them, Okay. Now, two things I'm really worried about, and I already just ticked one off the list. So one was I was really concerned about Braden Preuss. I think for a lot of us, if we have certain trade plans, we need Braden Preuss to play. So really happy that he's going to be playing. If he wasn't, that would be terrible, obviously, for cash generation, but it's the Matthew Flynn element that is the important one because he was really, really good. And there was a chance, just because of how good he was, like have a look at this. Oh my God, this is classic me, bro. I just got so cut. I just realized he's not playing. And it's like he's not out because he didn't play, obviously. So when I didn't see his name, I got stoked, and now I'm so cut. Oh my God. Oh, I thought this might happen. This just throws everything in, like, this is just such a spanner in the works. And it just probably is going to change everything. Because my plan was to just do next week one trade, Preuss to gone. Is that going to be possible anymore? Almost definitely not. Unless you, have over 100k in the bank. So, massively disappointing that. That's a bummer. So Matthew Flynn was the main element, and he obviously played really well last week. He got like a 139, and it's the new coach, and I guess maybe him and Braden Preuss don't gel for some reason. Because, look at what Braden Preuss has done this season. How can you drop him? You're just not going to play him? Matt Flynn was versing West Coast. Come on, dude. You got to play Preuss. I thought of it as one of those things that, that would never happen. And then it just happened. Oh, well. So the other people are Conor Mcdonald and Jack Carroll. So let's not hope that we get the triple whammy here. That would be so gutting. Okay. So I think none of these really matter. All right, Conor Mcdonald is back. Okay, that's fantastic. Let's see, where is he playing? He's playing on field, so I like that. That suggests he's like a integral part of the team. Let's not forget, we felt that way about Ward not too long ago, and they just kind of dropped him. And I was worried that the same thing had just happened to Conor Mcdonald, but fortunately, it's right back there in the team. So that's really good news. Jack Carroll is the next big question mark. Who was incredible last week was, is his name Joel Jeffrey? Where is he? There he is. Joel Jeffrey. He was exquisite on the weekend. It was brilliant. I think he kicked 5 goals. I thought about it and I was like, I don't know who'd they verse, Bulldogs. I was thinking I don't know how many more other people on that field would have kicked 5 goals in their whole career. And that guy just kicked 5 in I don't know how many matches he's played, but barely any. And in spectacular fashion. He kicked one directly over his head. And the other ones were he'd take a sweep mark or do something kind of just skillful. It was creative and stuff. And you can see maybe hopefully him and Isaac Rankin doing some really cool stuff. And obviously it's Indigenous round, so of particular significance to Joel Jeffrey, who said he grew up playing in the Northern Territory, and he was the guys in the Tiwi Islands, they just are so skilled and do so much cool stuff, but they're this is what he said, they're undisciplined off field, and that's sort of what stops them from making it to the big time. So I can just imagine these guys being the Harlem Globetrotters, absolutely styling on everyone that they verse, and it's just all about, doing super sweet shit, and that's pretty sweet. So hopefully him and Isaac Rankin can form a dynamic duo. Really concerned this week about Jared Witts. So if Gawn and Witts were the same price, I'd have a seriously tough question to answer. I honestly don't know who I'd choose. It's so, you feel silly choosing Witts over Gawn if they were the same price. But this guy just doesn't stop dominating every single game. And what are you supposed to do? Like, you can't doubt him anymore, man. You just can't doubt him. He's going to be R1. Like, almost, if things keep going the way they're going, he's R1, man. It's incredible. The best ruck this season, Jared Witts. And it's such a bummer because some people brought him in at the start of the season and now their teams are like way overinflated for, that's presuming it's entirely luck, like that Jared Witts is suddenly a beast. And I think most people that started him would acknowledge they certainly weren't expecting this. They were certainly planning on trading him out, but now they'll just keep him, and that's a massive advantage. So you're getting lucky in Supercoach sometimes. You can inflate your rank in the season and kind of make it seem like you're going way better than, what the salty ones think you should be, like me. If I started him, I'd be like, no, man, I'm just a genius or something. All right. Malcolm Rose is still playing. That's another important one, actually. Don't think there's anything there that really matters. Fremantle and Melbourne. Okay, Luke Cleary omitted. That's another stinger. Oh my God. I thought that might happen because of Taylor Duray. At least that's what the guys on the Fantasy Take podcast said. And when they said that, I thought, true, I didn't know he was coming back. That might actually happen. So even though he's put in 2 great performances, Luke Cleary's gone. So that's another, like I said, spanner in the works there. Like, how are you going to work around that? Oh man, I'm not going to be able to absorb all of this information and come up with some sort of trade strategy, but see how we go on the fly and hopefully come up with something that sticks. Who was the other one? Jack Carroll. So he looks like he's kept his spot. Now, this might be a Michael Voss trait where he's a fucking emergency. He's going to get dropped. Just when you think you got some good news and then you wake up to your senses and realise it's on a Sunday, bud. I guess I'll find out tomorrow. It's so disappointing when you don't know the answers and then you're going to go and make these trade plans preemptively. Then you find out Jack Carroll's out and it's like, I'm going to have to keep Dacos now because I really need him for the buys. Anyway, so I'm probably not going to do that anymore. Obviously, Cleary isn't even playing. But let's go through what happened last week because last week was a super sweet week, man. So super stoked on this. This is sick. So I went 2,498, top 1%, baby, boom, for the first time this season. So that's pretty cool. That felt pretty good when that came in. Like, I knew I did good. I knew I had done well. But there was people, like, I've seen I'm in some pretty sweet leagues. Like, I got 3 out of 3, but, like, there's a few guys in my leagues that, beat me. So, like, those guys are, top level. So maybe there's an element of, I don't know if it translates to Supercoach, but you know how, like, if you're versing better people, you do better? Like, I don't know if that translates or not. I'd be interested to know what you think about that. But 2,498, 1%, top 1%. That's pretty cool. So this round also marks a significant moment because this is the first time this season that I overtook one of the Fantasy Take podcasters and the unfortunate member of the trio to have that fate was JD, and I don't know, man. I want to say silver lining, but it's really the opposite of a silver lining. But I guess the kicker here is, unfortunately for me and kind of everyone, like the whole reality of it, is the only reason that I'm ahead of him is because he made a mistake where he had taken the emergency off Sam Hayes, so he ended up getting a donor when Bruce was a late out. And it's just like, I don't want to go ahead like that. Like I take no, solace in getting ahead of him and technically being in front. But like we all know that feeling, man, when you make like just a stupid Supercoach error, and it's just like, I can't believe that happened. Like, you got to feel for him because everyone's been there, and just the feeling of making just a rookie error like that it does sting as a avid super coacher, absolutely. So gutted for him for that actually. So going in front, I feel kind of bad about it, but still pretty stoked obviously with 2498, and we'll see what happens moving forward. I'm sure he'll be pretty good. However, if I'm being honest, I don't think his team is particularly well positioned. But I've thought that before, and he's proven me wrong, come through with the goods in the end. A team that I do think is really well positioned, if I'm to be honest, and upfront about it, is my team. We'll see what happens with these issues with the teams that just came out, particularly with Braden Preuss. But my thinking is everyone's going to have Braden Preuss anyway. I didn't really lose against the competition. I lost in my own head because I had these sweet plans, super sweet plans that involved literally getting, in my opinion, this is no joke, the perfect Supercoach team. I'm not even kidding. I wouldn't be making any compromises at all. So that's how much it sucks that fucking Braden Preuss is out, other than maybe the Wits Gone fucking compromise, which is the most astonishing of all. Happy to have Gorn though, obviously. So this is my current team. This is how I went into the last round. So I brought in Darcy Parish, and he had 42 disposals. I had the VC on him. Obviously wished I had it on Clayton Oliver. Like, how fat would my score have been if I got like an extra 50 points? It would have been so sweet. But it's such a bummer when you have a player, but it still hurts when, like, it might still be to the detriment of your like standing in the ranks, even though the player did so well just because you didn't captain them. That's fucking that is just doesn't feel right. It's like, come on, man, I still chose him, but he's still like, he went so good that it fucking didn't even benefit me. But anyway, what a game. Didn't even watch it, to be honest. I think I watched like the last 2 minutes, and the commentators were like, whoa, Clayton Oliver, that's 45, and I'm just like, fuck. And then you check the contested numbers, and I didn't really even do that, but I'm sure they were ridiculous for a 178. But yeah, it's a pity you're not able to like revel in it and enjoy it. Yep. So anyway, I brought in Darcy Parish, and I was still pretty stoked with that 128. And then Lockie Neal was gonna be my captain otherwise, and I was just so worried he was going to go as big as Oliver, but obviously with the 100 I scored like 28 points there, so made a lot of the ground up. Some people just lost 78, and that sucks. So a lot of people captain McRae, so I think I did all right in the end with Darcy Parish vice captain, which welcome to the team, but hopefully he can keep it up. I mean, if you have a look at his scoring, 116 average is pretty fire, considering he started with a 99, 110, and a 97. Then he's just gone bang, 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 bang. Like, you wouldn't be disappointed with any of these scores from any player. So hopefully he can keep that up. I am worried about Carlton. They just seem to dominate in the midfield. St Kilda as well, and Port Adelaide not ideal. So he could have a couple of tough games coming up. But when you have a look at it, Western Bulldogs, he still went 111. And Fremantle at this time, they were flying. So 113 against them is still not the end of the world. Alright, so obviously Dacos was a little bit disappointing. What the fuck? Did he get dropped? No, he's going to get named, but he's been put on the sub list. That is so annoying that they do that. What about Hayes? Oh, fuck. When's Port Adelaide playing? No, okay. But what the fuck? Shouldn't he be... He should definitely just be on the field. Why would you name Finlayson there? Well, it's going to be a big night tomorrow, so I might actually just not even go through... Well, I'll go with what I was going to do, but, like... Yeah, so I was going to go with Sinclair and the man in demand. The man in demand, or who was prior to the news, Cleary. So this is what I was sort of hoping for, and I think that this would be a top 6 defense, to be honest. Like, I'm not that bullish on Doherty towards the back end of the season. And I think that from this point onwards, this is your top 6. And then I don't think I'm making literally any compromises here other than maybe we'll see how Patrick Cripps goes. But everyone has him. Like, you'll be tough pressed to find a team that doesn't have Patrick Cripps, and a tough pressed to find a team that doesn't have Lachie Neale. Certainly one that's doing reasonably well. So the Cripps issue, if it does become one, someone with more trades has the potential to flip him, and that could be a season-defining play, to be honest. Like, if someone goes 10-15 better every game. So I'll definitely be going with Clark on field. And then captain options, I don't know what to do, so I just go VC Neale, Captain McRae. But like, fuck, imagine if I did that for this week where they went 100 to 104. Goodness, that would be so frustrating. So we're going to presume Hayes is going to play, and not really too sure what the hell is going on with Braden Pruce. And then I would have to take the gamble on DeConning. But to be honest, man, I watched this guy play in Australia. I'd never seen him get a touch, or at least when I was watching him get sort of these scores. And then he's just gone 77, 82, 69, 85, like all highly respectable scores. Like, I don't know, what is like a 78.73 round is pretty solid. Anyway, hopefully he does it again. He's at home, and Tom Stewart loves kicking it around at the back there, so that's what I would go in with if I wasn't going to change my trade plans drastically, which is the likely outcome. So we'll see what happens this week. But I love this. And then my plans would have been go Pruce to Gawn, and I would have had Gawn here. And then what I would have done next is there would have been this bye coming up, and I would have gone to Conning, Roses, and McComb to Bontempelli or Bailey Smith. That would go there. And you could argue that's a finished team, but for me, I think Zach Butters has to go. I didn't start him, and I missed out on the first 2 big scores that he got. I mean, what do you do? If someone goes this big at the start of the season, everyone has him, and you don't. You have no choice. You have to get him. Like, that sucked. I reckon this year, to be honest, I've done remarkably well at, I guess, steadying the ship and still being aggressive whilst dealing with all sorts of issues, like not starting Butters, Neale, or Cripps. Not ideal. Bringing in Tim English and he gets injured. Trading out Jack Steele, bringing Jack Steele back in, then he gets injured and you have to trade him out again. I'm sure there's other things, but, you know, being in the position that I am currently, which I think bodes well, like I said, I honestly thought we'll see what happens now that Bruce is out. Goodness, I mean, that's a dagger to these plans, but if you can create a team that has no compromises, I mean, maybe Cornelio could be a compromise, but I'm bullish on Cornelio. I still think he's going to seesaw, but I do also believe that he is capable of getting more of the pill under the new coach, because he seemed to play a more on-ball role last week, albeit against West Coast, so can't read too much into that, but we'll see what happens. And there's a chance he is a keeper there's a solid chance, in my opinion, that he's a top F6 player from here, because if you have a look at the forwards, they're just not that good. Why did I click on that? Okay. Like, the forwards this year, I mean, the backs have been so much better than the forwards this year. Check out the defense. This is unprecedented, this defense. What the hell? 118? When's the last time that happened? Like, I don't even know if Jake Lloyd ever did that. Did he? I mean, he was really good. Maybe he went like 120. I think he did, actually. But that was like one of the greatest defensive Supercoach performances, certainly of when I was playing. of all time. He did go 122 once, but like that's his season best COVID year, shortened quarters. Somehow he just dominated that. I think I don't know, maybe shit tons of kick-ins, who knows. But unprecedented to have a 118, 115. What the hell, James Sicily? James Sicily's best before this was 105. Tom Stewart's best before this was last year, 107. Jack Sinclair, where the fuck did he come from? And Doherty's like, he's falling away, I'm telling you. So 21.1%, I love that. Jack Sinclair has less, that's incredible. I definitely would take Jack Sinclair over Docs. And Jordan Dawson is on possibly a rise, but I'm expecting him to come down a little bit. I mean, what has he done? Two 130s in 3 games, and then just a cheeky 107 in between, like against tough opposition. That's pretty scary, and I'm worried about him. I'm not sure if I should have had Short or Dawson, but at this stage, I've got no reason to think that Short can't continue, his good form. He's racking up the ball every game, and this really does look like an outlier up here, which I was very concerned might become common. But so far, so good. And Sydney, not ideal, certainly not ideal. We'll see how he goes against them, but pretty happy with how the team is. And we got the NRL on tonight, so we've got Melbourne Storm versus the Manly Sea Eagles. So no Tom Trbojevic because he has been injured and is out for the rest of the season, which is such a bummer. Particularly after last year, he had like a 17 game, and I think that's like 26 or 25 games a season in NRL, and he had a 17-game Dally M season. Like imagine someone doing like a 15-game Brownlow season in AFL, like that would be unprecedented. And you've got fucking like a Gary Ablett currently playing his equivalent, Nathan Cleary, who's like, how do you beat him in the Brownlow? What a performance. So he just was on fire. Absolute gun of the competition. So he's out for the season, which is a bit of a bummer. But at the same time, Melbourne have just come off a bit of a controversial sort of patch. They first lost to the Penrith Panthers, and they were the grand finalists of... No, that's wrong. They were the preliminary finalists of last year. And in that game, or after that game, after Melbourne had... Wait. Okay, no, sorry about this. I'm wrong. We've got to go back 2 years to the grand final when Penrith versed Melbourne Storm. And what happened was Melbourne won the game, and it was like really close, great game, legendary. Fucking the games that these guys play right now at the moment, man, they are legendary. The top 4 teams, man, Penrith, Parramatta, the Sharks, Storm right now, I would say they're probably the top 4 in my opinion, like finals-worthy teams. Whenever these guys verse each other, they go to war. Particularly the Penrith Panthers, man. They're the show. They're putting together like a serious... I'm not even kidding. They're putting together a serious dynasty. They've got in my opinion, I don't know, man. Call it controversial, but he's the best I've ever seen. Nathan Cleary is the best NRL player I've ever seen. And he's revolutionising the game as he goes about it as well. Like his kicks. Like these are Nathan Cleary specific kicks. And he just practices and practices, and he's like just, absolutely... Like, I don't admire anyone younger than me probably more than Nathan Cleary. And it's fucking awesome. I just watch that guy play, and it's like he goes to work, and the team, like, they feel so comfortable when he's around. They put so much trust and faith in him, and he just gets the job done time and time again. And when they need him to step up, he steps the fuck up. And like he's just someone you can rely so much on. It's honestly incredible what Nathan Cleary does. But anyway, after the game, unfortunately they couldn't get the job done against the Melbourne Storm 2 years ago in the grand final. And after that game, Jerome Hughes was saying that something derogatory, and I couldn't find what it was, and it annoyed me because I was desperately searching, what's the drama? I want to know the drama, and I couldn't find it. But apparently there was a video that surfaced of him insulting people from Penrith, I believe they said Mount Druitt was the, I don't know, what he focused on. And I don't really know anything about it, but he said, I believe, something derogatory, to the point where the Penrith players then said something like, I just don't even know why someone would say that, you know? And then they asked Jerome Hughes about it. He's like, yeah, nah, it's, you know, I'm just not that type of person, and kind of want to move on, sort of thing. It's just a bummer. So in the game, in that grand final, they were saying, go forward a year from the grand final, and in the preliminary final, they're talking shit to Jerome Hughes the whole game because they've seen this video. And he's like, what are these guys even talking about? He didn't even recall what it was. So when they're set to line up for the next time after that extremely competitive, incredible, you know, legendary game, Jerome Hughes now knows why they were so feisty and angry with him. He then does a calf injury. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? That's awfully convenient considering the controversy. So he doesn't verse the Penrith Panthers, and the Penrith Panthers absolutely dominate the Storm. It was fucking awesome. Just an incredible game. Like all of these top 4 spectacles are. The Penrith Panthers versus the Eels last week, or 2 weeks ago. Again, incredible. But anyway, 3 weeks ago, who knows? I don't remember. Last week, whenever they fucking played. But yeah, so you have Nathan Cleary coming in and steering the ship, blah blah blah, and then sorry about that. I've just cooked it. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, the Melbourne Storm then versed North Queensland, and North Queensland dominated the Storm, and the Storm are in shambles. So tonight we have the Melbourne Storm coming off 2 catastrophic losses. One with controversy very much attached, and then Jerome Hughes doesn't play the next week because he was originally named. So I reckon people might have said, yo, what's with the just missing the Penrith game where you're not really injured? And then he's like, oh, no, I was. And then the team loses again, and he's like such a pivotal part of the team. So you could argue to a large extent, particularly the way things went, reshuffling the team and having to put players that weren't there before into that position, and those particular players not performing. Absolute shockers. Losing the game, you could argue. And then now he's back. So does Jerome Hughes come back? Melbourne steer the steer the ship in the right direction, and everyone is just back on board, and they're like, "Yo, Jerome Hughes, you're the man." I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But there's certainly quite a bit to digest, and I'm sure Melbourne Storm are big favourites. I'll be watching, and hopefully it's ultimately a good game. That's all you can really hope for in it.